Thanks for joining me for this Met Office 10-day trend. If you're watching on YouTube and you like these longer form videos, then don't forget to hit subscribe, and you'll also be able to see our exclusive deep dive videos that we do every Tuesday. But this is the 10-day trend. Plenty going on as always. Lots actually going on in the next 4 or 5 days, and we'll deal with the shorter term first of all. It's been a very wet week, and this kind of explains why. This is the jet stream, that fast-moving ribbon of air high up in the atmosphere that's been spinning up and pushing low-pressure systems our way. It's a south-shifted jet. That's why we've seen a series of low-pressure systems. That's why it's been so wet. What's happening in the next couple of days? The jet's actually carrying another low up towards Scandinavia, but it leaves behind this one, and that only slowly meanders across the southern half of the UK over the next 48 hours, generating further heavy rain. And after such a wet start to the week, that is likely to cause some further problems. Let's look at the rainfall then in detail. This arm of rain spreads north and then pivots and sits across particularly northeast England during Wednesday night and into Thursday. We may also see what's called a standing wave, generating some heavier rain a bit further west. But the main focus, the main concern is the rain feeding in from the North Sea across northeast England. Then in the south, some heavy showers generated, and then we see this band of rain sinking south, the colder air slipping south, hitting the warmer air, and that's likely to generate lines of heavy downpours during the course of Thursday night and into Friday, potentially affecting the already flooded areas, and again likely to cause some further disruption. Let's take a look at the rainfall amounts we're expecting. The rain is spreading its way northwards. These are the 12-hour rainfall accumulations, and with the winds coming in from the North Sea, you can see those rainfall totals really building up. Yes, over the hills, but also close to the coast there. So again, we could see some further disruption, some further flooding is possible. And then the attention moves further south with the showers. Notice the spiky nature of the downpours, and then potentially these lines of heavy showers sitting somewhere across England and Wales during Thursday night and into Friday. Some uncertainty about the exact location of those lines of heavy rain, but they could potentially affect the already flooded areas. So Met Office yellow warning in place through Wednesday night and Thursday for the northeast of England. We'd have to keep our eye on Northern Ireland as well. Some heavy rain is also possible here. And then for Thursday night and into Friday morning, a broader area across the south. Not everywhere in here is going to see torrential rain, far from it, but that's the risk area for those narrower bands of heavy rain. And of course, the previously flooded areas very susceptible to any further rain, which could cause further disruption. For the full details of the Met Office warnings, check our app and our website. OK, that's the shorter term. That low pressure system, though, starting to pull away during Friday morning, still bringing some heavy rain for a time. But as it pulls away, what happens is it opens the isobars up. The winds will be coming down from the north. The next couple of days pretty chilly across northern Scotland, but come Friday that colder air floods further south right across the UK. So we'll all see that chill, particularly Friday night. The weekend is going to start fairly fresh with the cold air in place. But also coming in is a little ridge of high pressure, so that should at least bring the south, which will see the heaviest rain over the next 48 hours, a dry spell through the weekend. There's low pressure nearby to the north, so we'll see some showers. And yes, look at this, waiting in the wings for Sunday night and Monday. More on that in a moment, but let's first of all kind of sum up the weekends, because we know it's going to be a chillier start with those northerly winds bringing that fresher air, but it probably won't last too long. And with a ridge of high pressure across the south, the weekend thankfully looks a lot drier for England and Wales. There will be some showers across parts of Scotland and Northern Ireland, but nothing like the heavy downpours we're going to see across the south in the next 48 hours. However, as we go into next week, we are keeping a close eye on things in the Atlantic. Just showed you that area of low pressure that's moving in. Let's take a closer look at that now, because that's the biggest uncertainty, I'd say, in the medium range forecast. The jet stream dipping to the south as we go through the rest of this week, and then toppling up to the north, allowing that little ridge of high pressure to move in. But this little streak is quite interesting. That's the key player as we head into Sunday night and into Monday. If we rewind what the jet stream's doing and then put on what that means for the surface pressure. It's this dip in the jet stream, allowing that low to sit across the UK for the next few days. That clears away. Then we see that ridge of high pressure moving in. But then this little pulse of the jet stream, a jet streak, is actually likely to spin up an area of low pressure somewhere out to the west of the UK. But it's a small little feature, and this is 5 days ahead, but it could have quite a significant impact because it could turn this low into quite a substantial area of low pressure. It's likely to bring a spell of wet and windy weather across particularly western parts as we head through Sunday night and into Monday. But there is quite a bit of uncertainty about the position and intensity of this low, and it's all to do with just how strong the jet stream is going to be. Now, this is the Met Office model, what we've just been looking at really, but we've changed the colours around. Now the jet is in the yellow here, and you can see there's the arm of the jet pushing to the north, allowing the ridge to build in for the weekend. But it's this little feature, this little jet streak, kind of breakaway small feature that's going to spin up that area of low pressure. That's the Met Office model, but if we look at what the European model is doing, it's similar. It's got that kind of ridging, the jet stream arching to the north, but it doesn't have the same little jet streak to the south. It's more one continuous jet, which means the low pressure system that's in amongst there won't become as intense, won't get spun up as much, and it's likely to be much more south shifted, which means there's quite a bit of uncertainty about what the rainfall will look like for Monday. And that's shown in this map here. This graphic is showing where the rainfall is likely to build up in the Met Office model and the European model, shown side by side for the 36 hours from midday on Sunday all the way through to the end of Monday. You can see quite a difference. Many western areas will be wet in both scenarios, but actually the heaviest rain, the red colours there, really focus across western Scotland and Northern Ireland, because that's the Met Office model, which spins the low up and pushes it further north, whereas the European model doesn't have such an intense area of low pressure in terms of its wind strength, and it's all a bit further south, so the heaviest rain is across South Wales and South West England. So quite a disparity there in the two main computer models that we look at. We also look at other models. This is the American computer model, which is a coarser resolution, so you don't get as much detail. It's somewhere in between, but it is closer to the European model with the heaviest rain close to South Wales there. So quite a bit of disparity there about Monday's rainfall. That's in the main deterministic weather models that we use when you just look at the main computer model run. But of course, if you watch the 10-day trend regularly, you'll know that we often look at ensembles. It's a better way of looking at these medium range forecasts when you run the model many, many times. And that's what we've got here. This is the Met Office ensemble, showing the different potentials, the different members, each one a different kind of future in a multiverse, if you like. And they're showing the disparity here. That's the main computer model run with that deep low up to the northwest. Member number 1 is pretty similar, but if we take a look at some of the others, they're quite similar to the European model. For example, number 11 there has a weaker low and a further south, and number 8 is also further south as well. So quite a spread, as we say, in the potential solutions. So for Monday, there's quite a bit of uncertainty, more so than usual, about what's going to happen. And that's also shown here on this, I like to call this the confidence-ometer, if you like, where we look at how confident we are in the forecast based on how similar the computer models and the ensemble members are. Dates going along the bottom. The average confidence is this line here, and the actual is represented by this solid line. And when the solid line is above the average, we have the green shading, suggesting we're more confident than usual, and the red is less confident. You can see that confidence really drops off there on Monday. So a big dip, and actually it stays in the red zone for much of next week, suggesting we don't have a lot of confidence, or certainly less than normal in the longer range forecast into next week. We're pretty happy that a spell of wet and windy weather will hit the UK early next week, but the details remain fairly unsure, so do keep up to date with the forecast, because that could be quite a lively spell of rain. But of course, any extra rain falling is potentially going to cause some problems after such a wet week. This is the pressure trend through next week. We've shown these before, of course, on the 10-day trend. Blue is lower pressure, more likely. Red is higher pressure, more likely. And I want to show this because it just gets very wishy-washy through next week. Actually, a couple of runs ago, the previous computer model runs, of course, going down the side here, and the dates going forward along the top. a couple of model runs ago, there was more blue on the chart for next week, suggesting it was more likely to be low pressure and unsettled. But now in recent runs, we have higher pressure a little bit closer. So yeah, just adding to that uncertainty through next week. But this is the most likely pressure setup, certainly from Tuesday onwards, once we've lost that low that's coming in on Monday, with low pressure somewhere up to the northwest, high pressure trying to build in from the south. But if this high is closer, then we'll have more settled weather. If the low is closer, then we call that more cyclonic, and we're likely to have more showers. But either way, in this kind of pressure setup, the most likely is that the winds are going to be coming in from the northwest, and that will generally mean temperatures are around or below average, and generally leading to a fairly showery setup. So the second half of next week generally looks calmer than the next 4 or 5 days. Generally a mixture of sunshine and showers, with those temperatures, as I said, with a northwesterly wind likely to be close to or somewhat below average. Please do keep up to date with the forecast, particularly as developments towards Monday. And also do keep up to date with those Met Office weather warnings that are in place. Best way to do that, check our app or, of course, our website, as I said at the start. If you're watching on YouTube, hit subscribe. Thanks so much for watching this week's Met Office 10-day trend. In our 10-day trends and our deep dives, we often talk about ensembles. And if you want to know more about what they are, how they work and why we use them, you should check out this video, which we've just posted today.